Dawn broke, pale and cold. I turned in my bed and rubbed my eyes. I felt dizzy, my head full of scenes from the night's terrible dreams. I saw blood pooling on stones, servants wailing, and my father's face gone black in death. But I was awake now, and I knew the sun would banish the nightmares. I started to sit up, but fell back against my pillow. It was as if a giant hand had pressed me down flat, and I could not lift myself again. I began to pant and struggle. Was this another terrible dream? My hands were limp, and my head felt heavy and hot. "Jeanette," I called weakly, "I need you." In a moment she was by my bed, her normally ruddy face white with worry. "Oh, my darling Sophia," she whispered, "your father loved you so." Tears slid down her face, and she didn't bother to wipe them away. Instead, her hand cupped my cheek. "You poor orphaned queen." Queen. I gripped the bed as the room spun around me. It had not been a dream. My father was dead, cruelly stabbed in a midnight hallway by an unknown enemy. The kingdom was now mine, and Ares, the greatest threat Bandon had ever faced, advanced against us. I knew nothing about warfare. I knew that I should find Otto and learn our plans for counterattack. But in this moment, the grief was too much to bear. I began to shiver, and I pulled the ermine coverlet to my chin with shaking fingers. "Come bathe and dress," Jeanette urged. "Let me comb your hair. It will make you feel better. Sophia, we must be strong." I shook my head as I lay quaking beneath the covers. "I can't get up, Jeanette." "Sophia, you are a ruler now," she said gently. "You must show your people that you deserve their love and loyalty. You are a queen, child. You must contain your sadness." I could hardly take in her words, and I could barely lift my hand to touch her arm. "Jeanette, I feel so weak. It's freezing in this room. Are all the windows open? Has winter come already?" Her brows furrowed as my legs, against my will, began to seize under the covers. "Sophia," she cried, "what's wrong?" "You must get Otto," I said to her. "Ares approaches. Otto knows what to do. He will command," but my teeth chattered so much it was hard to speak. Jeanette rose from the bed and backed away from me, fear in her eyes. "No, I must get Sacavarel," she said. I tried to clench my clacking jaws together, even as I spoke. "Nothing is wrong with me at all, except that my father is dead, and I don't know how to lead an army. Do not bring me the useless old doctor. Bring me Otto." Without another word she ran from the room. Though I tried to keep my legs from spasming, it felt like I was being rattled by an invisible force, as if some unseen hand held me in its grip and shook me to and fro. I gritted my teeth as not to cry out. Jeanette was gone a long time, but no maid came in to stoke the fire. Adelie and Elodie never appeared either. I had often been alone in my life, but on this frigid, awful morning, I was more alone than ever before. My shaking kicked the covers from the bed and flung the pillows to the floor. But then, just when it seemed like the teeth would be jolted from my head, the convulsing suddenly stopped. I breathed in a deep, grateful breath. Perhaps the tremors had passed and my strength would return. I tried to sit up, but an explosion of pain burst in my head. I cried out, clawing at my temples, just as Jeanette, Sacavarel, and a handful of his pupils returned to my room. They pulled my hands away from my head, and Sacavarel took only one glance at me before his face went even paler than usual. "My queen," he said, "you are gravely ill." "What do you know?" I rasped angrily. "You who could not save my father. What good are you to me?" He bowed his head. I did my best for my beloved king. His wound was too deep, but truthfully, your highness, I am no good for you either. You've lost your skill. Well, no matter, I am not sick. Once again I tried to sit up, but could not, and I lay gasping on my pillow. I have just bid farewell to my father forever, and what you see is my grief. I will be better momentarily. "I am afraid that is not true," he said. "Your situation is no less dire than the king's." I turned to Jeanette. "Why does he say that?" But then I cried out in pain again, and I couldn't hear her answer. The invisible force that had shaken me was now driving an axe into my skull. Jeanette pressed her hand over my mouth as gently as she could. "Forgive me, Sophia, but you must hear this." Sakharov, still white as a ghost, spoke softly now. "You have the sleep, my queen. I am sorry, but you will not last the night."